All right, so really, this is the part where we want to hear from you. You know, you've heard from a lot of legacy speakers today, a lot of knowledgeable people who know a lot about grant writing and grant applications. But we want to know, what are you hearing from your clients, your communities? What are they saying is their biggest need, or are there hurdles? And you know, the second part of that question is, you know, what do you need, you know, as the grant writers here in our communities, or as the contract grant writers, or as the consultants? You know, what is it you need? What can we do to make your job easier? What can we do for these communities right now? So what are you hearing? So please give us some input and feedback.
I used to teach at a university, and there are definitely pros and cons to this. But there may be an opportunity to use students as practicum-based projects to deliver some parts of this where there doesn't need to be an engineering signature, but where you may be able to use reduced cost or no cost support, internships, things like that benefit both your collegiate workforce and you. I also, if you have a contract city engineer, county engineer, any of these places, most of them do not have maybe a professional engineer on staff, but we have one on contract. There's an opportunity there to maybe use some of those folks that may already be on some sort of funded or obligated contract. And there are a lot of small businesses that can provide great value. There are some in this room that can really help and won't cost as much as others. Challenges with grant writing: there aren't as many resources to get money in order to ask for money. And so there are so many of our communities that are just opted out because they can't pay for a grant writer. And also, I don't know how the educational cooperative is, what they're doing down there in Greenbush. I know they used to do a lot of grant writing and grant administration outside the education world.
Grant writing and administration is the helping them.
Yeah. Okay. So thinking about some of those more those large firms, or like a Thrive Allen County, something like that, like entities that are used to getting a lot of funding, maybe they can provide some support.
There's a couple of FTA programs and other programs that are trying to transition to this inside of their NOCOs. Well, they will grant pre-award authority upon award, which means you can go, right? So just paying attention to that is very like program dependent on what you can and can't do. Some of the rail programs, you can request pre-award authority and they're more responsive, and like it would be through RAISE through the U.S. Secretary's office. So it's dependent. I think what you're going to run into in some instances is kind of what we're running into in Iowa and Nebraska, where you're going to have questions that are very project dependent and very situationally dependent, and so you might want to consider having like some type of office hours where you can just kind of call in and have people who do this that you can just cover whatever questions you have that day.
Expectation management should be part of your 101 strategy when you're thinking about going after a grant, because you're right, it's rainbows, balloons, and unicorns on the day that the press release comes out that says these cities were awarded this many millions of dollars, right? But then there's the reality when you get the email the next day that says that, by the way, on average, it takes 361 days to go from the rainbows, balloons, and unicorns to the grant award being signed. Part of your expectation management that you need to start thinking about, even before you hit submit on grants.gov or any other portal that you're using, is how are you going to effectively communicate internally? Great, rainbows and unicorns today. Tomorrow it's going to rain, and it's going to be thunderstorms, because it's going to take a year before we can do anything. But it also needs to include how you're going to communicate that with the public, because it is a big deal, and the governor's office likes to send out big announcements when there are big awards that come to Kansas as a result of the IIJA or bipartisan infrastructure law bill. So be thinking about that as part of your grant agency readiness strategy, as well as your project readiness strategy. So I would just say start incorporating that on the front end, because it will save you some heartbreak on the back end.
My question earlier about being able to attend the hearing, I just think, I know that most of these applications get approved, but I think it could help to build the process, maybe not so much the applicants, to have the applicants there so that the people making decisions do hear their needs, because I think there seems to be a disconnect. And this has less to do with grant writing, more to do with the process, just my perceptions. But,
Yeah.
I think if they heard it from the applicant and not having to hear it third hand through Bill's staff, it might have a different story. They wouldn't be complaining quite so much about the applications being like dead heavy and all that.
You're saying my delivery is too dry, so
You're excellent.
It's spice it up a little bit.
You should have to carry the weight of the state's requests.
Yeah, I've been told to keep it boring. Boring is good with politicians.
Yeah.
No, good point. All right. I want to say thank you, number one, to all of our speakers, and we give them a big round of applause for being here today. And thank you all for being here. Hope you were able to take away something from this. I know we are able to take away something from this, help improve what we're providing to you and to our communities here in Kansas. So very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Be safe. Grab some soda, candy, water, whatever you want on the way out. It's all for you. So thank you again.